Like a fat kid in a candy store.
Greetings, friends. It's Josh.
And I'm Ryan.
And we're here for another exciting episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast. Ryan, welcome back.
Thank you.
You know, we miss you, and we are currently missing Daniel, as has been the case for the last few episodes, I think. And Matt came back and joined us for the last episode, and that was a lot of fun.
One day.
One time. The one time that no one else could make it, Matt was able to be here. So
one day, all of us will be here at the same time.
No, that's true. It will happen. But I feel like Matt is some mythical creature that like just pops up every now and then at random.
You know, I didn't see him, so
I know that's my point. Like
it's just a myth to me.
He's only here when no one else can be. That's the way you get Matt here.
I like it.
Oh. It's not entirely. We've had episodes with the three of us, but
it's true. But not the four of us.
But not the four of us. It will happen.
It will happen.
It will happen
one
someday.
Day.
One day, someday. So yeah. So this is a podcast for gamers who don't have time to game, and we are excited to be here to talk about some video games.
Games.
This is our review episode, so we're going to be reviewing some games later on. Usually we start off with an anecdote, and I'm fresh out, so...
I have one. It's not necessarily funny,
okay,
but it's not funny.
Okay.
It's just an anecdote.
Anecdotes are good.
So I missed our last episode because I was on vacation.
What a jerk.
I know, what a jerk. And
shame on you.
Part of our vacation, actually like the last day of it, was we went to Legoland.
Okay,
with the
always
kids.
A good time.
And you know, while I was there, I was thinking surely something cool will happen that I can talk about on the podcast because we've talked to Lego
on
this podcast before. So the cool thing that I thought we could talk about is while we were there, my father-in-law asked. So when we went to the Legoland that's in Columbus, Ohio, and it was in this huge mall. I want to say that Legoland was like 3 stories tall. Like you go in on the ground floor, and then there was an elevator that went down.
So I want to clarify: are we talking Legoland or like a big Lego store thing?
No, this is Legoland. So you walk in, and it's a huge store when you walk in. But then if you go around the sort of the back side of the store, you go through you show them your ticket. Okay. You go through, and then that behind the store and the 2 levels below that are all Legoland.
Okay.
So yeah.
So this is not like Legoland California or Legoland like Orlando, or was it? I'm confused. I'm just trying to clarify.
Believe those are bigger, but I don't know.
Okay.
So here's what they had.
Okay.
They had the massive store.
Okay.
Huge store. And then when you go in, you show them your ticket. Like you have to buy tickets to enter. You show them your ticket. The first thing you do is they have you do this kind of, I would call it silly little game where you create your own minifig. And it's a virtual game, and basically you just try to create the most silly thing. Like mine ended up being, I think it had a Chewbacca head with like like a mariachi band body, and just random, create your own. So you do that, and then you watch like I'm gonna say 5-minute video about how a Lego factory works, like how they package Lego sets and ship them and stuff like that. Then you go in, and the first thing that we did was there was this like ride where you have these little blaster guns and you ride through, and there's all these Lego buildings and stuff, and on the wall are targets, and there's like the one we were riding was like a pirate ship adventure. So there's like all these Lego skeleton minifigs attacking a pirate ship, and you're trying to shoot them. So that was cool. Then you walk past that, or you ride that, and then the next thing you come to is let me see, what was it? It was because it's in Columbus, they had a scale model of Columbus, Ohio, made entirely out of Lego.
Okay.
And you could walk through it. That was really cool. and they had all these different like mini games you could do. So there was a little sign, because it's Halloween, everything was Halloween themed.
Gotcha.
So they had a little sign that said like, try to find these monsters, and there was like a werewolf, a Frankenstein, and you tried to find the minifigs in Legoland.
Gotcha.
Basically. And then there was a couple other rides. There was a playland. There was a big, huge slide. There was a place where you could build your own Lego castle, and they had like judges that would judge how cool your castle was. So I don't know how it compares to the others, but yeah.
Well, so I've been to Legoland, California, and like it's this massive like outdoor like.
Okay, it's not that big.
Yeah. So like I was curious. So our research department got me some information here on this.
Love
so
when that happens.
Yeah. No, the research department is on their A game today. So. What you were at was a Legoland Discovery Center.
Yes, correct.
Which is a little bit different than. So that's why I was confused when you just said Legoland, because I was like, wait a second, there's not one around here.
No, my impression is like the impression I got was this is
Legoland Light.
Yes, a miniature version of true full-blown Legoland.
Yeah, no, that sounds cool.
So actually what happened was we went to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania for our vacation, and we were coming through Columbus to get home, and our two oldest sons get Lego magazine once a month, and our oldest saw in there that there was this Legoland experience or something like that in Columbus. So he was like, hey, let's go. So that's how that came about.
Well, good on your oldest there for being proactive.
Yes. So,
way to go.
While we were there, because they're very specific about, you have to buy your tickets for a very specific time.
Yes.
The storefront opened at 10 a.m. Our tickets were for 10:30, so we just thought, hey, we'll walk around the store. Surely there's cool stuff to look at. So we were walking around looking at all this stuff. And my father-in-law asks one of the workers in the store what the biggest ever Lego set is in terms of sheer number of pieces. And actually, before I go any further, do you have a guess on what you think that might be?
It's the Millennium Falcon.
How many pieces is that?
It's like 9,000.
So that's very interesting to me. He wasn't sure what the biggest ever was, but the biggest one that they had available for sale in their store was the Titanic. And it was over 9,000 pieces. Yeah. So that's interesting that you also said 9,000.
I'm fairly certain that it's the Lego Millennium Falcon. It's either the Millennium Falcon or the Lego Imperial Star Destroyer. Like the map, like they have like these like black edition things.
Yeah,
that are, like
big, huge.
Yeah, that are just absolutely expensive, like way too expensive. Let's see. Research department's working on it.
They're working on it.
Yeah, they'll get us that information.
So I thought that was cool. Huge Titanic Lego set, 9,000 pieces. I actually found myself kind of wanting it, even though I'm not. I mean, I'm not anti-Titanic, but I'm not a Titanic historian or buff by any means. But I still found myself wanting this set just because I thought it was cool, how many pieces it was. And then
that doesn't count.
Oh, it doesn't count?
No, this particular one that I'm looking at doesn't count, or that the research department is telling me.
The research department, not.
Yeah, I'm not looking this up on my phone right now while you're talking.
No, this is a professional show.
I've got someone looking this up, and I'm telling them.
Exactly.
So yeah, there's apparently a world map that they released in 2021 that's just like a bunch of different pieces that all like make the globe. It's not a globe, but it's just like a map, like a flat.
Okay,
thing.
That's interesting because I saw that there.
That says it's 11,695.
Oh,
bricks.
the one I saw couldn't have been that one because it was not nearly
I don't think that
big.
one counts. But
I agree.
And of course, my research here could be wrong. So
I agree that doesn't count.
But let's see. I'm fairly certain that I'm right with the Millennium Falcon. But
that would make sense.
I want confirmation.
That would make sense.
Unless something has come out since then. There is an Eiffel Tower.
Ooh.
That is 10,001 pieces.
That's cool. Now I want that instead of the Titanic.
Yeah, the Titanic is 9,090.
Nice.
Here's a picture. that Ryan can see. That's the actual world map.
Okay, that's not the one I saw while I was there. So yeah,
it's
I
like
was thinking
11,000 pieces.
that doesn't count.
That one doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
I agree.
The Eiffel Tower.
Eiffel Tower is officially
10,001.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. 10,001. Do you think they just like made it take one extra piece just so that it wasn't exactly 10,000?
Yeah, it's like, oh, we've got to put like a random head in there or something.
Put one more little block right over here, so it's 10,001.
And I was apparently wrong with the Millennium Falcon. It is 7,000 pieces, so it's 7,500.
So I found myself wanting that Titanic because, like I said, just because of how large it,
Yeah, no.
Not necessarily like this ultra Titanic fan or nerd or anything. I just wanted it because of, how big it was.
Sure. So, speaking of the Titanic, this is a completely tangential thing. But
Here we go.
Because you mentioned Titanic. So, the Facebook algorithm, we've talked about this before and how it's like completely broken and weird. So, like, it's gotten to the point now where I will maybe hover over something one time, very brief, like, just because, oh, that looks interesting. And then my news feed will be nothing but that
That's
thing.
what you get for a week.
Yeah. This has been like going on a month at this point. Where, like, so I don't remember exactly what the first thing was, obviously. But, like, it was something that was Titanic related.
Yeah.
And now I see nothing but like a bunch of like comparison shots of like, this is what the Titanic looked like when it was original, and then this is what it looks like now, and it's like, showing the like degrading. It's like, why? Like, yes, it's interesting. Like, yes, I like it's cool to see, but like, can I get anything else? No,
nope. That's all you get.
Titanic is all you get now.
You know what's amazing?
Titanic
actually,
and AI images. That's it.
I'm gonna give a teaser here. I'm gonna tell you an amazing story about the Titanic after this show.
Okay.
Because it would be way too long for me to and just really not related at all. So I can't say it on the show, but it's fascinating.
Okay.
I think you'll really enjoy it.
Is it about how it's the Titanic isn't actually like the Titanic? It's another ship.
No.
Okay.
It is not about
That's
that.
a conspiracy theory that is apparently completely debunked, but it's an interesting conspiracy theory anyway.
So the funny thing about that story at the Lego thing was...
So the Legos, back to Legos.
My father-in-law and I were standing there looking at it, and we noticed there's no price. Like, if you're looking at... And it's this huge box. Like, I'm going to say...
Oh, sure.
I'm going to say the box was like a square, like a cube, and it was 3 feet by 3 feet. I mean, it's huge, And we were noticing there's no price. And we were, like, contemplating asking, and both of us at the same time said, this is one of those things where if you have to ask, you can't afford it. And they know that. So there's just no price, because if you have to ask what the price is, you're not going to buy it.
You're not going to buy it, no.
So
let's see. So, actual retail price of the Lego Titanic set.
Ooh.
Did you find out?
We never did ask.
You never did ask.
No, we never
actual retail price, according to the research department, $679.99.
Okay, so technically could afford it, but I'm never going to spend that much. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Other Lego sets that are smaller, the newest AT-AT or AT-AT Lego set, which is one of the like black box Star Wars sets, $849.99. Like 2,000 less pieces on that one, and more expensive.
But it's Star Wars.
And you get like a crap ton of minifigures with it.
Ah, there it is.
And let's see, do they have the Millennium Falcon here? Let's see, the Millennium Falcon is $849.99.
Worth it.
Yeah, totally worth it. There is actually one point where I was like, I think I had just gotten a bonus at work. I had gotten some, like, I had cash, and I was like,
yeah.
I could buy something with this, and like I was on the cusp of ordering the Lego Millennium Falcon, like that, collector's edition, like I was right there. I was ready, and I had M on board with it. Like Emmy was ready to, like M was like, go for it.
Right.
I think you should do it, and I was like, oh man.
So all right, the people want to know, why didn't you?
I don't have anywhere to put it.
Ah, okay.
It's too big. And so it's one of those things where it was like,
you have to build a custom shelf.
I would buy it, and I would do it. I'd put it together. It'd be great. and then I wouldn't have anywhere to, and that was that was
what
literally
stopped you.
the only thing that stopped me from buying it, is because I did not have anywhere to put it.
Have you ever seen the videos where the two guys make the Lego Millennium Falcon and then they drop it? Like it's all on purpose. They put the whole thing together and then they drop it from like 4 stories up and they have like cameras down below.
My gosh,
and
no,
yeah,
I have not seen
they're
that.
great. It's amazing. And they have all these cameras so you can see pieces just
Yeah.
shooting off in random directions. But
That hurts me.
it does. It hurts to watch. Like, no,
Because-
why would you do that?
Well, so first off, it hurts me because, like, one, you spent all the time to do it, but two, like, you're gonna lose pieces, you're gonna
they're
damage
gone
pieces
forever.
doing that, like, and then like, then you've got to go back to Lego and like, buy, like, you've like spent $900 on this thing,
Yeah.
and now like you can't rebuild it in the way that it was like,
Nope.
you know, that just irks me that people would do that.
It hurts.
Now I have seen there was an episode of a Conan O'Brien thing where he had Harrison Ford on for his thing, and he had one of his interns that had built the Lego Millennium Falcon and brought it out for Harrison Ford to sign, and he handed it over to Harrison
cool.
Ford, and Harrison Ford dropped it.
No, of course.
And that's very funny, so you can look that one up too.
I'll have to look
But-
at that one.
Anyway,
Nice.
no. So the Legoland Discovery Center in Columbus, yay or nay?
Oh yeah, definitely yay. It
Okay.
was a good time.
Cool.
Kids
Yeah.
had fun. We didn't do this, but in the store there's a little, almost like a kiosk right in the middle of the store where you can build your own minifig. And I think it was $10.
Oh,
But you
nice.
can, literally build your own, design your own, so you can, make it look like yourself if you want, or
Yeah.
anything else. But yeah.
So there's there's actually a Lego restaurant, like I think in Denmark, I think. That
Interesting.
that you go and you build your meal, whatever it is you want, and you send it into a conveyor belt thing, and it shows like the little Lego people making it in the kitchen.
Oh, cool.
And then it comes out, and like you have like it's
real food.
Yeah, it's real food. It's very cool.
That's cool.
Emmy showed me a video of that the other day, and she was like, "We should go," and I was like, "Yes, a very expensive date.
This
And we'll just fly over there and fly right back."
is where Lego needs to sponsor the Dead Tired Dads.
Absolutely.
To go to Denmark.
Yes, we will give you a review of your restaurant, and it will be like everyone will listen to it. It's gonna be great.
Yes.
Hashtag sponsor us Lego. So yeah, cool.
So yeah, that's my
I have
anecdote.
So I've been to Legoland, California. We went when we right after we got married. Actually, it was on our honeymoon.
Nice.
We went out to Los Angeles and did a bunch of fun stuff like that, and that was one of those things that I was like, we should do that if we're gonna be out there, and so we did.
You have to.
And that was a very, very cool experience. So now it was at the time. I'm sure they've I feel like it was like that was like the first Legoland that had opened. I'm fairly certain. And I think it was kind of getting to the point where it had been kind of worn down. And I'm not sure that Lego was quite in the affluent space that it is now. And
Yeah.
I think some of the stuff was faded and old looking. I'm sure they've renovated at this point, but it was very cool. I enjoyed it and I had a good time. And it gave me an opportunity to nerd out, and
Which is always
a,
good.
I bought a Lego set there, and so I've got my Legoland California Lego set.
Yeah, of course.
And I want to eventually at some point whenever we get down to Disney World with the kids, I have every intention of going to Legoland Orlando. And doing that, but knowing that there are these I didn't know about these Discovery Center.
Oh, you
things,
should check it out.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
I mean, so
And
anyway,
from here to there is like 3 hours.
yeah,
so.
we've done the Columbus Drive at one time to see a concert up there.
There you go.
So
Piece of cake.
yeah, it wasn't too bad.
It was fun. It was a good time, and it was interesting because it's I imagine different than legit Legoland, like the ride and the play place and some of that stuff.
Right.
Was obviously not made out of Lego.
Right. Right.
And so, like, that was just not quite what I was expecting. But, of course, it was awesome that the kids got to run around and burn their energy. And something I really appreciated, the play place, or whatever you want to call it, the jungle gym set or whatever, there was only one door in and out.
Oh, nice.
So, There's zero chance of kids getting lost.
Right.
And so I, as a dead tired dad, appreciated that.
For sure. No likey the idea of kids escaping and then being free range inside a giant...
Inside of Legoland.
Yeah, absolutely not. So, okay, cool.
Yeah, there you go.
Legoland Discovery Centers are a thing, and you should check them out, apparently.
Yeah, so that's my...
Find one near you.
You know, that's...
You also went to to another one of our, something that's tangential to the show. The Reese.
I did. I went to Hershey, and okay, we're getting dangerously close to me having to tell that story about the Titanic. I did go to the Hershey Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
Incredible. So incredible. Like, obviously, as a candy lover, that was incredible, but we took the trolley ride around the town of Hershey.
Okay.
And it's an hour and 15 minutes long, and it gives the whole history lesson of Milton Hershey and how he started it and where he came from and where the Hershey brand came from. And it was just remarkable. Like,
that sounds really
just
cool.
Remarkable. And yeah, I mean, there was a whole wall of Reese's stuff.
A whole wall of Reese's stuff that all is
a great day.
Registered trademark.
I
color
texted you while I was there about the orange is the registered trademark. Speaking of colors. Okay, so this is something I learned.
Okay.
The Hershey Bar, the standard Hershey Bar.
Yes.
You can all picture it. Is that a
registered trademark too? The color?
I don't think so, but if you ask a Hershey employee, what color is the wrapper of a Hershey Bar?
Okay.
What do you think they'd say?
It's not. I assume that they say chocolate.
No, they don't say chocolate.
Okay.
I thought they'd say brown.
Yeah, no, they can't say brown. I know that that's not the case.
They say it's maroon. Exactly. Our listeners can't see your face, but you're making the same face that I made.
No, that is not maroon. My high school colors were maroon. This couch is kind of maroon.
That's what they say.
I don't think it's maroon.
I don't think so either.
I don't eat Hershey's chocolate, but I need a Hershey's chocolate bar right now.
And they gave us several Hershey bars, and I looked at them right there in their factory, and I thought, this is not maroon.
Yeah, no, this is maroon. I need a chocolate bar just so I can put it on this couch and be like, wrong.
I should have brought one because I have like 5 at home now.
Okay, wild. That is wild.
No explanation as to why, but it's maroon.
It's maroon. Okay. Yeah. Well, you heard it here first, folks. The Hershey wrapper is maroon, apparently. Okay.
So, this is also not the story I was going to tell you, but since we talk Reese's on this story or on this podcast all the time, guess how Reese Cup came to be?
So I know this one. There was a car wreck, and there was a guy with a piece of chocolate and a guy with a jar of peanut butter, and there's a car wreck, and the one guy goes, "You got chocolate in my peanut butter," and the other guy goes, "No, you got peanut butter in my chocolate," and then they were like, "Oh, this tastes delicious." That's a Family Guy reference, but
no, that's way funnier, but no. So this is part of that fascinating tour. Harry Reese is a friend of Milton Hershey.
Okay.
And even at one point worked for him.
Harry Reese.
This
is someone's name.
That's his real name.
Harry Reese.
Well, it's probably Harold, but he went by Harry.
Okay.
Reese, obviously.
Right.
Friend of Milton Hershey. He and his wife had 16 children. So on the side, to make extra income, because when you have 16 children, you need extra income. He was a candy maker. He made candy out of his garage.
Okay.
He decided to use some of his good friend Milton Hershey's milk chocolate and mix it with peanut butter. Milton Hershey says to him, his friend, "I don't think people will like milk chocolate and peanut butter together, but I'll give you the seed money to start it up anyway because we're friends." I don't think people will like it together.
Oh my goodness, Mr. Hershey.
Guess what Hershey's #1 selling candy is?
Reese's.
It's the Reese Cup.
Wow.
So, just because they were friends, he was like, "I'll help you out even though I don't think people will like it."
Wow. Well, good. I mean, 1, good for you for helping out your friend, Mr. Hershey. 2, what a horrible mistake that was. Like how? Like
think how much worse it could have been.
oh yeah,
though.
no, absolutely, it could have been way worse. Someone else could have invented
Exactly.
it. It would be like Johnny's cups or something like that. It'd be something stupid.
Gross. So yeah.
Oh man.
There you go.
Okay. Fascinating.
Boom. That's not even my most fascinating story, which I'll tell you after the show.
After the show, I'm gonna hear about the fascinating information about the Titanic.
You are.
Okay.
Great.
Well, now that we're knee deep into Legos and chocolate, why don't we talk about some video games?
Oh yeah, that's what we do here.
So Ryan, do you want to go first? You want me to go? I'll go if you want me to.
I think you should go because I feel like I've been talking for a while.
Okay, sure. So yeah, I've got something going on here. I had 2 games that I could choose from that I could review for this episode.
Ooh.
Because I've actually beaten 2 games.
Look out, world.
I have beaten 2 games.
Josh beats video games now.
I beat video games now, apparently. Now, there is a caveat with this. Both of them are games that I've already played and have beaten in the past. So, so these are not new games. But there are fun things to revisit. And so I talked about... So one of them was a Metroid game, and I've talked about Metroid games a lot over the last little bit. And so the last game that I actually reviewed was also a Metroid game. And so I was like, I'm not going to do that one. So I'm going to talk about Twilight Princess, The Legend of Zelda.
Oh, nice.
So I was really hoping that Matt would be here because he's been playing Echoes of Wisdom. And I was hoping that we could do like a kind of, one-off of the Zelda talking points and things like that. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So I went back and replayed Twilight Princess. And I've got to say, game holds up.
Nice.
Game holds up. As I'm playing it, I had a friend in college when Twilight Princess first came out that was like, he basically said, I think this is better than Ocarina of Time.
Those are some big words.
Right. And at the time, I was like, there's no way. There's no way. You're
and
crazy.
Now?
You're crazy. Now I think he might have been right.
Oh, slow burn.
I think he might have been right. And I'll tell you why. Like, there are so many interesting tools, so many interesting weapons that you get in Twilight Princess. So many things that you don't really see in any of the other games. And so many things that they added in that were just really creative, and you see kind of so now that we're kind of, how long has it been? That came out in 2006, so good gracious, we're almost 20 years. That's insane to me that this game is like 20 years old.
Are so old.
Oh my gosh, that's wild.
So what did it come out on originally?
It was on the Wii.
Okay.
So they released a GameCube version of it, and they released a Wii version of it.
Interesting.
So in the GameCube version of it, interesting fact, in the GameCube version, Link is left-handed. Because Link is always left-handed. And in the Wii version, he's right-handed. Because you use the motion controls. So they wanted it to match...
you go.
Match the motion controls. So that's just an interesting little...
You don't just get reviews on this show. You get amazing tidbits like that.
So it was on the Wii and the GameCube originally. But the way that it holds up, you can start to see the things that were kind of being planted for what came out later.
Okay.
So the things that you start, like some of the best parts of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, you kind of start to see some of those elements being incorporated into Twilight Princess. This is, I think, as far as I know, this is the first Zelda game that had the warp option. So there were places that you could warp.
Yep.
Which I actually find to be a bit of a detriment for the game, at least upon multiple playthroughs, because multiple playthroughs over the course of time. Because it becomes a thing, like the first time you play through it, like any game, you want to kind of explore everything, and so you might not use the warp feature as much. It's been, so I have 3 save files on it. The last one I had played on was probably about 10 years ago. I think it was 2015, 2014, I think. So it's been a good chunk of time since I've replayed it, and I just didn't feel like exploring. And so there was stuff that, like, as I was like, oh, I want to try to get all the heart pieces. Like, I was like, oh, that's a really obvious place for that. How did I miss that? And it was like, well, because you didn't explore anything. You just warped to where you wanted it to go. So, but it does have a much bigger world feel to it than, say, Ocarina of Time does. And Ocarina of Time, don't get me wrong, feels huge, but like looking back on it, it's like it's relatively small. But it's starting to build out that thing, and but yeah, so like I can't express like the creativity in the dungeons, the weapons and the that you get out of the dungeons and the way that they're used are very cool. Now, like with a lot of Zelda games, it does have a detriment of, like, you get a weapon or a tool, that's good for that dungeon and good for, one other dungeon maybe, and then you never use it again.
Yep.
Which is kind of frustrating. But some of the stuff that they did, like, some of them are just so cool. And I don't want to say anything because I know you've never actually played the game.
This is true.
And I almost want to make you play it. Like, I almost want to send you with a Wii and, like...
Send me home with a Wii and the game.
And just go, you go play this. The great thing about it is my kids loved it.
Even better.
My son was like, Dad, I want you to be Link. Be Link. Be Link. And so, that makes it easy for me to play.
Here, twist my arm.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
I'll play Zelda.
So I did also, I've always, with Zelda games, I've always named my characters, like my first profile is Link, my second profile is Josh, my third profile is Zelda. So there are some cutscenes and things like that where Link and Zelda, or Link and another character would be talking to each other. Well, I guess it wouldn't be Link and Zelda, but Link and another character would be talking to each other, and the one character would be like, Zelda, we have to save Zelda. And it's like, comes off very humorous.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, overall there's just so much about that game that is it's just really fun. It's really cool. Lots of really neat elements to it that make it I was thinking about this. I really think so after Twilight Princess, the only other console version that the only other console Zelda that they came out with between that and Breath of the Wild was Skyward Sword, which I've talked about on here before. Yep. And that one doesn't really hold up as well. Like, that one wasn't really, I didn't feel like that one was great when it came out. And it definitely, like, the remaster that they did on the Switch is just incredibly difficult with the drift problems and things like that. Yeah. You can't play that game with the kind of problems that the Switch has with its controllers. So back to my point. So since that was the only one, Skyward Sword was the last traditional Zelda game that we've had on a console. I honestly think that the reason they went the way that they did with Breath of the Wild, I think that Twilight Princess might be kind of like the peak of traditional Zelda games.
Interesting.
I think they did everything that you're supposed to do with that format with that game.
Huh.
And it really, the other thing that makes it interesting, so you had Ocarina of Time and you had Majora's Mask that kind of came out back to back for the 64. The GameCube comes out, and you're thinking we're trending in a direction of like more realism, more realistic graphics, more like, you know, this is what this is going to be. And you get Wind Waker. And Wind Waker is the cartoony graphics, and it's, you know, and I know like there are people who love Wind Waker and think it's a great game, and I've played it. You know, I can take it or leave it. It's not my favorite.
Never played it.
It's a good game, but it's not my favorite Zelda. There's a lot of sailing. It's a good story, and it's probably the most violent ending that you're gonna see in a Zelda game, which is interesting considering the cartoony nature of the graphics. But anyway, all that to say, we went from, you know, Majora's Mask into Wind Waker, which is kind of flips the script on like how the game is going to be, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of go, what's happening? And then you get Twilight Princess, that is more of a return to like what you were expecting after Majora's Mask. And it really does have a kindred spirit, if you will, with those N64 games. It feels similar in the way that it plays, in the way that you do things, in the way that the story progresses. It feels like a similar thing. You know, so I don't know. There's just so much about it that I just absolutely love, and I think it. I don't know, like I don't feel like it gets the love that it deserves, and I don't know why. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a huge audience out there that absolutely loves it. But I honestly like. I'm kind of sitting back and I'm going. I do think it's better than Ocarina of Time.
All right. Better than Breath of the Wild?
So that's hard to say. Because it's difficult. Breath of the Wild changes the genre, right?
Yeah.
Like you have an expectation with a Zelda game. Breath of the Wild is something different.
Breath of the Wild says, "Ha! Yeah, I'll show you an expectation."
Let's just shred all of our expectations and let's do something different, and make this about exploration. Make this about like I said, I feel like it's the epitome of the traditional Zelda.
There you
go. And I like just the way that they structured it, the way that the weapons that you get, and again, they are weapons that you've never seen in any of the other Zelda games, and they're just cool.
Yeah.
It's just cool. There's so many things that they did that were just cool.
Which is like what you want, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing a video game, you want it to be fun, you want it to be cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know.
And obviously, like you said, you can play in front of your kids.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. My kids loved it. They had a good time with it. Took me about 30-ish hours.
Okay,
maybe
not
a little
bad.
more. Maybe closer to 40.
Not bad.
I think one of my other profiles said it was 35 hours.
Yeah.
So you can certainly, you could probably beat it if you knew what you were doing and just kind of blew through it. You could beat it relatively quickly and play through it. You know, It's not a short. You know, it's not necessarily a short game, but it's not like forever long either.
Yeah.
Some of the other cool things that they did. Traditionally, you only need 4 pieces of a heart to get a heart container.
Oh yeah.
You need 5.
Okay.
But there's a lot more of them, so they're easier to find.
Yeah.
And also there's like this woman that's like a fortune teller that you can go to, and she'll tell you where heart pieces are.
Huh.
So they did some things that make it that make certain aspects of the game easier.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool, but also like I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because I know you haven't played it, and I don't want to ruin anything for you because I want you to play it. And I'm seriously considering trying to figure out a way to get it to you.
You know what's interesting about you wanting me to play it is I've been wanting. I expected that they wouldn't, but I've been wishing they would. I've been wanting Nintendo to do the virtual console thing with the Wii.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons, you know, selfishly, I want to play those games, but also it to me just makes a lot of sense because you've got the Joy-Cons that work as motion controller, and it's like why not?
Right.
So you know.
Now that does bring up an interesting point that I was just thinking about. I'm not sure how well it would translate for someone who hasn't done like motion control stuff on the Wii.
Okay.
Like, it is one of those things where it does feel kind of gimmicky, like going back to it, like doing the motion controls with the Wii. Like, it does feel like it's still very cool and it's easy to do. Like, it's not difficult, but like if it's not something that you have already done, like if it's not something you experienced at the time, because like I don't know if you remember this or not, but like the Wii was like this like incredible phenomenon that like just overtook everything, like changed the way that people were thinking about video games for like an entire decade.
Yeah.
Like in what people were trying to do. And I'm pretty sure like it kickstarted like the whole like virtual reality thing. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, I vividly remember, my buddies and I would talk about how realistic a game looks, and oh man, look at Halo. If you zoom in, you can see the individual blades of grass. And then here comes this console with characters with just a body and a head that we spent hours upon hours just bowling.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
it was like all of us just sort of realized like, oh, who cares about graphics?
Yeah,
Like this is so much fun. Yeah.
This is just fun. Just having a good time. So, but yeah, I don't know. Looking back on it now, like, and playing through it again, I just love the game. I really do.
Yeah.
And Ocarina of Time is obviously like up there. It's because it's near and dear to my heart. It was the first Zelda game that I really played.
Yeah.
So obviously it's special. But there is something about Twilight Princess that I think, like I said, I don't think it has the reputation that it deserves.
Yeah.
As like just the way that it does borrow. It borrows a lot. And maybe that's what makes it so great. It borrows a lot from Ocarina of Time. Like, there's a lot of very similar things that you've got the 3 dungeons that you have to do first, and then you have the other 7 that you have to go do. I don't think it's 7, but you've got there's this similar kind of pattern that plays out, which is again traditional Zelda. Like that's how that thing goes. But it also kind of, like I said, it opens the door, so it's this blending between the old and what came later.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff that, like I said, as I was playing, I was like, oh, I see how they're kind of, how this is kind of from,
what they were building towards.
They're building towards this open world thing, and
which obviously at the time you can't do because no one knows, but it is cool to be able to go back and see that.
So I guess Breath of the Wild is kind of pulling from that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I just wish that they hadn't missed the mark so much on Skyward Sword. But, live and learn.
It's interesting that you bring all that up, though, because I've actually been thinking a lot lately about... So I beat Tears of the Kingdom, but there's some side content that I never finished.
Right.
And for whatever reason, I've just been wanting to go back and do some of that. So... it just randomly popped up in my head the other day. Like, I really want to play Tears of the Kingdom again.
I should go back and beat Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, Josh, you started by saying you beat 2 games.
I did, and Tears of the Kingdom wasn't one of them.
Oh man, you should. That's a great.
Well, once the next Zelda game comes out, I will. Or I should say the next Zelda game because Echoes of Wisdom. Yes, I know. But like once the next one in the in whatever major that where you're playing Link actually.
Okay, I was gonna say is Echoes of Wisdom the new one?
Yes.
Where you play as Princess Zelda?
Yes.
Okay. And you said Matt's been playing that.
Matt's been playing that, and I just started it. So.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
After I beat Twilight Princess, my kids still wanted me to be Link, so I can't be Link in that one, but I can be Zelda, which is close enough.
So that'll be a future review.
At some point, yeah, that'll be a review. But I've got to review the other game, first that I've beaten. So
true.
But anyway, that's my review of Twilight Princess. If you never got to play it, I mean,
I want to play it now.
You really did miss out on something if you haven't been able to play Twilight Princess, and I highly recommend figuring out a way to pick it up and play it because it's a great game. It's
that good.
It really is. Yeah. There are some, and I say that there are some things that are annoying about it.
Of course.
But
like every game.
Yeah, they're in the grand scheme of things, it's oversight. Like I can get over anything that annoys me with that game.
Yeah.
Getting into it is a little slow. It takes a little bit of time to get into the game. But I mean, so did Ocarina of Time. Like,
yeah.
So
that's actually really good to know, though, because I used to think this was a bad habit of mine. I've now realized that it's more about just having a busy schedule. I won't play a game or read a book or like TV shows, movies, anything. I won't stick with them very long unless someone has warned me ahead of time, like, hey, give this show 3 episodes and then it gets good.
Right.
Or, read the first 2 chapters of the book before you say, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
So knowing that ahead of time is actually
you got to
really
get
good.
a couple hours into it.
Yeah.
Before it actually kicks, because it does have a kind of a slow intro of like kind of getting into like the actual game.
See, if I know that, it's fine.
But like.
But if I didn't know that, I'd be like, "What is Josh talking about? This is boring."
And then there are also some parts where it's just like I just want to get through. Can I just get through this part?
Yeah.
And once you do, it just blows the whole thing open. But anyway, yeah, that's Twilight Princess. Go find yourself a Wii or a GameCube. I think the GameCube version is actually more expensive though.
Interesting.
But go find yourself a Wii, get yourself Twilight Princess, and play it.
There you go.
Interesting story before we move on. So when that game came out, Emmy and I had just started dating. We had just started dating. I got, so it was 2006. I got the Wii for Christmas in 2006 because everyone who got a Wii got it in 2006.
Everyone did.
Yeah. That was the one thing that I asked for Christmas, and that's what I got. And so Emmy and I had been dating for like a month, maybe 2 at this point. And I came back from Christmas break, and she had gotten me Twilight Princess for Christmas. It's like the first Christmas present that she got.
Nice.
Me. So yeah, and that's still the copy that I have. So.
I thought you were gonna say she like wondered what happened to you, like you fell off the face of the earth because you're just playing your Wii. And
no, she was very supportive of my habits.
That's so cool though. First Christmas present.
So yeah. Anyway, we're gonna run long. I can already tell. So Ryan, we're gonna go right into your review.
Real quick, we forgot one very critical news item.
Okay.
That we were talking about in the group chat the other day.
Okay.
We didn't talk about Alarmo.
Well, I was gonna save that for the next episode, Ryan.
But you can't. You can't.
We can.
All right. So we'll save Alarmo for the next episode.
We're gonna save Alarmo for our news episode of October, because that's gaming news. That's not something that we talk about on the review episode.
All right, we'll save that. My review. I have been trying so hard to delay this and push it off and play other games or review other games because I really, 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 really didn't want to review this game until I finished it. But I can't delay anymore, and I've not played anything else, so I have nothing else to talk about. So my options are to either review this or say, good night, folks. So I'm going to talk about Baldur's Gate 3.
Baldur's Gate 3!
So if you are a fan of this show, you know how highly I speak of Divinity 2, which was made by Larian Studios. Baldur's Gate 3 was also made by Larian Studios.
Okay.
This game is so good. It's so good that I'm probably, according to what people have told me, 10 to 15 hours from the end. I will be immediately starting a second playthrough.
Okay.
So on our next review episode, I'll have nothing to talk about.
No, that's not true, because you're going to have to pause that, and you're going to have to play Twilight Princess.
Oh, okay. Well, I will have that then.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Baldur's Gate 3.
So, right off the bat, I will say I have never played Baldur's Gate 1 or 2.
Okay.
So, don't know how they tie in at all. Don't know if they do tie in at all. But, obviously, you can play this game without having ever played them.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing it just fine.
Excellent.
The basic premise of this game is when the game starts, you are on this sort of alien-like ship, and you're in this you're basically imprisoned in this chamber, and there's this creature going around putting what they refer to as tadpoles in people's eyes.
Okay.
And so obviously you can tell, cannot play this game in front of kids.
Right, yeah. Don't put tadpoles in people's eyes.
I was playing it after my kids went to bed one night. My oldest son came down to get a drink of water and immediately shielded his eyes and ran to the kitchen and said, "Is it over yet?"
Oh, God.
So you cannot play this game in front of kids.
Yipe. That sounds traumatic.
So these tadpole things burrow into your brain and they take over your brain. And the way the game starts is you find out that somehow, some way, that tadpole will turn you into the alien creature that just...
Tadpoled you?
Tadpoled you, yeah.
Okay.
They're called mind flayers. So that's the basic premise of the game. The game starts with you looking for a cure to this critter that's taking over your brain. And
so you have a tadpole in your eye? Like you're in the process of becoming a mind flayer thing?
Yes, okay. That's right. Correct.
Okay.
So you're on the ship. They put a tadpole in your eye. Someone comes to your rescue. Ship crashes. You're now free. And you have a tadpole, and you're looking for a way to get rid of it. For obvious reasons.
Right.
Because I don't want this alien burrowing into my brain.
Fair enough. I do want a pet tadpole, though, because then it'll become a frog.
There you go.
Okay. Sorry.
Josh wants a pet. There you go. Christmas idea for Josh.
No, I don't really want a frog.
Like you would expect with any video game, almost instantly you're given a clue to where you could get cured, and you go there and you can't get cured by that person. So, it's kind of one of those where it's like, yeah, I saw that coming.
Go to the planet Oz, and there you will find...
I'm kind of in the same boat as you in that I know you'll never play this game because it's an RPG, but I don't want to say too much because there's a lot that you could spoil.
And it's a newer game, so it's more likely that you'll spoil it for someone in the audience as opposed to Twilight Princess. That
exactly.
It's been out for 10 years, so you don't want... I could say something, but I don't want to spoil it for you. I don't care if I spoil it for the audience.
For the other people.
You've had plenty of time to play it.
You've had time. Yeah, this game came out last year.
Yeah.
So, I think it's been out like a year and a half. So I'm trying to... So, as you're adventuring, if you will, you run into all kinds of different factions of people, religious fanatics, criminals, everything.
Right.
And you kind of have all these choices you can make. Who you're going to side with, who you want as an ally, who you want as an enemy. You can trick people into thinking they're your ally and then, stab them in the back, so to speak. There's all kinds of decisions you can make. I've kind of talked about this with Divinity before. Between my father-in-law and a good friend of mine, they have played through this game somewhere in the area of 10 to 12 times combined. And they're
Baldur's Gate 3, the one that came out in the last year.
Yeah. They've
already played through it between the two of them 10 to 12 times. So like 5 to 6 times each.
Yes.
Okay.
They're still finding new stuff that they haven't seen.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that's how massive this game is.
To make sure I'm understanding, these are just different decisions that because you can go through and make different decisions, and that will unlock other different decisions and things like that.
Right.
And so there's this giant tree. Do you get to see the tree at all? Of what the decisions are, and where a branch could go out, so that if you went back on a replay, you would know, I don't want to make that decision again.
So far, not that I've seen.
Okay.
I mean, there's some stuff that's obvious, if I would have saved that person, then this would have happened.
Gotcha.
But, so far, nothing that has specifically shown me what would have happened.
Gotcha.
What I've been doing is, after a major decision and after the point where there's no more potential impact on the game, I've been asking my buddy, hey, what would have happened if I did this?
Gotcha.
Just because, I'm
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah.
But he will only tell me once he's certain that there's no more possible impact to my game.
Right.
So, I was getting ready to say something and I forget what, but that's
I'm sorry.
okay. No, that's
my
okay.
So the reason I asked about the tree thing, because that's one of the things that Detroit Become Human was a great game for the PS4. That was one of the reasons that I bought the PS4. Then that has this thing where you also go through and you make decisions, but
Yeah.
you can go back and you can see what where the branches are, so that on a replay you can go, okay, I won't do that. I'm going to do this other thing here.
Right.
Or I'm going to make sure that I look for this thing and leave out that other thing.
Yeah.
So, and that to me is really helpful for going okay, I know what to do, or I know what not to do, so that I don't get the same result.
Right.
Because I want to see something different.
Yeah.
I would feel like if I didn't have that, I would have a hard time remembering what did I do here?
Yeah.
And I'd end up at the same place, that I'd ended up previously.
There's nothing like that. There are some moments that are really massive and important to the game. There's one character that I won't say who or how. There's a character that died for me that the game immediately told me the impact that it had. I don't know if we've ever talked about this on the show before, but I have this very I don't know if you want to call it a pet peeve or just a preference, but I have this preference where I say canon is sacred. What I mean by that is if I make a choice or a character dies or whatever in my canon run, my first time of playing the game, I refuse to reload a save file. So if I mess up and a character in my group dies,
that game over.
Too
man.
bad for me.
You just have to deal with it.
I have to live with that. Yeah. I just have this personal thing where I refuse to reload just so I can save that person.
Right.
So all that to say, there's a major character that died for me that I immediately knew the impact of. When I play through a second time, I don't have that anymore.
Right.
I will reload 19 times if I have to keep that guy alive, just so I can see what happens differently.
Gotcha.
Another interesting thing about this game is there's a mode called Dark Urge where you the premise is you lose control of the tadpole.
Okay.
That's controlling you. And it's more of a evil playthrough, if you will.
Okay.
But you can't unlock that until you beat the game first.
Okay.
So a lot of people are kind of saying you have to have at least 2 playthroughs to see the majority of the stuff, because you can't even unlock this other mode.
Because you have to play through as the Mind Flayer.
Because without giving much away, obviously you can probably guess that you don't turn into the Mind Flayer instantly and see the game over screen. You find ways to work around it.
Right.
And so,
cool.
yeah. It's turn-based combat. And it's an RPG, so Josh will never play it. So when we're not on the show, I can spoil all of it for him because it won't matter.
Yeah.
I looked it up. They say between 75 to 100 hours to beat. People who have played it say that's on the light end.
Oh my gosh. That's insane.
Now you know why I've been trying so hard to delay, because it's taking me forever to beat this game.
That's just absolutely nuts.
I'm very close to the end. But I knew I was going on vacation.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to beat it before I did, and I just didn't get there.
Yeah.
So
Jeez.
I'm close.
So what are you playing this on? Xbox?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Xbox Series X. It's a fantastic game, and the story is really, really good. I can't say too much without spoiling, but there are several moments. There are a couple moments where, from the first few minutes of the game, I saw that coming a mile away. But there are several moments where I was genuinely surprised. Like, didn't see that.
Yeah.
The ability to customize your character and your party is almost limitless. Like, I mean, if there's as many different character creations as there are people on the internet, so everyone has their own
Right.
build and play style and stuff. I wouldn't say it's a difficult game. It takes strategy.
Sure.
There's not been a part yet where I'm like, this is hard. I can't do this.
Sure.
It's been more like, what am I missing? What am I forgetting? What skill have I not realized I should use here? That type of thing.
Yeah.
So I would highly recommend it. Like I said, definitely can't play it in front of your kids.
Doesn't sound like it.
Very gory.
Very long. So typically speaking, this is not a game that we would recommend for for you. But because it is so good, according to Ryan, you should get it anyway.
You should do it. You should play it anyway.
Unless you hate RPGs, and especially if you hate turn-based. Yeah.
I mean, I'm of the opinion that you should still play it, even if you are that person. But
I can't do it. I can't. So, to tell you just how much I can't do it. They released Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2 on the Switch.
Yep.
And I was playing through that. I bought that, last Christmas on the cartridge with the Star Wars.
Oh, like the 7-in-1 or the 5-in-1 or whatever
it was.
Yep.
I have that, and I started playing KOTOR again, Knights of the Old Republic. This is a game that I've played that I enjoyed my first playthrough. Even though it's turn-based and even though it's an RPG, I thought it was good. I enjoyed my time with it. I cannot replay that game. I can't do it. I can't stand it. It annoys me to no end.
Even though you've already done it.
Even though I've already done it. Because I know, now I know the ending, and so it's
I'm just wondering what combination it would take.
I like Fable. Or, I've played through all the Fable games.
Well, I was going to say a Mario turn-based game,
but no.
But they've got that, Paper Mario, and you don't like that.
I haven't played Paper Mario, so, I can't say that I don't like it, but I just haven't given it, it doesn't interest me. But anyway, we won't run any, we have jabbered on, and do you have any other points of order on Baldur's Gate 3?
I don't think so. Really great game, like you said, not one that would ever meet any of our criteria. The only reason I was so looking forward to this game is because it was made by Larian Studios. I would probably, if they came out tomorrow and said they were coming up with a game where you watched paint dry, I'd probably be like, I'm buying it because Larian Studios made it. So
they're that good.
Otherwise, yeah, fantastic game. It's one of those games where, with other people who have played it, there's so much you could talk about.
Sure.
But, it's a great game. Yeah. It is a great game. Cool. I would definitely recommend it, even though it doesn't meet any of our criteria.
So you've gotten a game that's nearly 20 years old that's highly recommended.
Boom.
It's still wild to me that Twilight Princess is almost 20 years old.
That is crazy.
20 years ago, we were playing on the Wii, just about.
That is crazy.
So Twilight Princess, amazing game. If you've never played it, you've got to find a way to play it. And Baldur's Gate 3, according to Ryan, it's a must-play thing.
Yep.
If you can stand RPGs and turn-based combat. So, unless you've got anything else, Ryan, That's going to do it for this episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast. We thank you so much for your time today. If you won't mind, you can do all of the things. Yep. Like, subscribe, share, rate. Those rating systems are very helpful on whatever platform that you're on. So please do that. And we will catch you on the next episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast.
Bye.